I never thought I'd become the guy who hires a private investigator. But when your wife of 8 years vanishes for 5 days without a word, you do what you have to do. Let me back up. I work as a supervisor at a logistics company. Nothing fancy, but it pays the bills. We rent a decent 2-bedroom house in a quiet neighborhood. Helen, my wife, worked as an account manager at a consulting firm. We had what I thought was a solid marriage. Not perfect, but genuine. Tuesday evening, she came home from work, threw her bag on the couch, and said she needed to go visit her friend Zoe for a few days. Family emergency, she said. I asked if everything was okay, if she needed me to come along. She brushed me off, said it was personal, girl stuff, nothing I needed to worry about. Wednesday morning, I texted her. No response. Called around lunch. Straight to voicemail. Thursday, same thing. By Friday, I started calling Zoe directly. She picked up on the third ring. Hey, is Helen there with you? Silence. Then what? No, I haven't seen her in weeks. That's when my stomach dropped. Not panic, just cold certainty that something was very wrong. I didn't waste time with theories. I called a private investigator Saturday morning. Guy named Charles, came recommended by a buddy at work. Told him everything. He said he'd start immediately. Helen walked through the front door Monday evening like nothing happened. No explanation, no apology, just dropped her overnight bag in the hallway and headed to the kitchen for water. I was sitting at the dining table. Didn't say a word. Just watched her. She turned around, saw me staring, and sighed like I was the one being difficult. Don't start, she said. Start what? The interrogation. I'm not doing this. I kept my voice steady. 5 days, Helen. You were gone 5 days. You lied about where you were going. You ignored every call, every text. She crossed her arms. My life, my rules. Don't ask anything. I nodded slowly. Absolutely. That caught her off guard. She expected a fight. Arguments, accusations, drama. Instead, I stood up, walked to the counter, and picked up a manila folder I'd placed there an hour earlier. Since we're establishing rules, I said, sliding the folder across the table toward her. Here are mine. She frowned, opened it. Her face went white. Photos. Dozens of them. Helen and some guy I'd never seen before. Checking into a resort 2 hours outside the city. Holding hands by the pool. Kissing in the hotel lobby. The investigator had been thorough. Timestamps, locations, even pulled security footage from the hotel parking lot showing her car. What? Where did you get these? Hired someone Thursday. He works fast. She flipped through the pages, her hands shaking now. There were bank statements too. ATM withdrawals she'd made, all near the resort. Restaurant receipts. A room service bill for 2. This isn't what it looks like, she started. I held up my hand. Stop. I'm going to save us both some time here. The investigator also recovered deleted messages from your phone records. I know exactly what this is. Her mouth opened, then closed. She tried to regroup, switching tactics. The anger came next. You had me followed? You invaded my privacy. You vanished for 5 days and lied about it. I had every right to find out the truth. She slammed the folder shut. This is exactly why I needed space. You never trusted me. You always. Helen, I didn't trust you because you weren't trustworthy. That's how trust works. The sarcasm wasn't lost on her. Her jaw tightened. We can work through this, she said, softer now, trying a different approach. Couples therapy. We can fix this. I reached into my jacket pocket and pulled out another envelope. This one was thicker. I placed it on top of the folder. Divorce papers. Already filed. You'll need to sign them. The color drained from her face again. You can't be serious. Completely serious. Over one mistake? After 8 years. I leaned back against the counter, arms crossed. It wasn't one mistake. It was 5 days of deliberate choices. You planned it. You lied. You ignored me. And then you walked back in here and tried to set rules for me. Like I'm supposed to just accept being disrespected in my own home. She started crying. I'd seen her cry before, but this felt different. Calculated. She was testing to see if it would work. It didn't. I need you out of this house by the end of the week, I said calmly. The lease is in both our names, but I already spoke to the landlord. I'm taking over the full lease. You're not staying here. You can't just kick me out. I'm not kicking you out. I'm asking you to leave. If you refuse, I'll make this a lot more public than it needs to be. Your parents, your friends, your coworkers. Everyone will know exactly why we're getting divorced. She stared at me like she didn't recognize me. Good. Maybe she never actually knew me at all. I'll pack tonight, she whispered. I nodded. That works. She grabbed the folder and the divorce papers, turned toward the hallway, then stopped. I didn't think you'd actually do this. Neither did I said. But here we are. She disappeared into the bedroom. I stayed in the kitchen, poured myself a drink, and sat back down at the table. My phone buzzed. Text from Charles, the investigator. Let me know if you need anything else. You handled that well. He'd been parked outside, just in case things got out of hand. I told him earlier I didn't think she'd get violent, but he insisted on being nearby. Professional guy. I texted back. Thanks. I think we're good from here. I heard drawers slamming in the bedroom, hangers scraping across the closet rod. She was actually packing. Part of me thought she'd try to negotiate, to stall, to manipulate her way into staying. But she knew. The evidence was overwhelming. The investigator hadn't just caught her, he'd documented everything. There was no version of this story where she came out looking innocent. I finished my drink, rinsed the glass, and set it in the sink. Tomorrow, I'd call my attorney and confirm the next steps. Tonight, I just needed to get through this without saying something I'd regret. Not out of anger, out of disappointment. 8 years. And it ended with her choosing 5 days in a resort with some guy over the marriage we'd built. Her loss, not mine. She didn't leave that night. I heard her moving around in the bedroom until past midnight, but she never came back out. Fine by me. I slept on the couch, not because I was being chivalrous, but because I didn't want to be in the same room with her. Tuesday morning, I got up early, showered, and headed to work like normal. When I came home that evening, her car was still in the driveway. I walked in and found her sitting at the dining table with the divorce papers spread out in front of her. We need to talk, she said. No, we don't. You need to sign those papers and find somewhere else to stay. She ignored that. I want to explain what actually happened. I set my keys down, crossed my arms, and waited. This should be entertaining. It wasn't an affair, she started. Not in the way you think. Photos show otherwise. Those photos don't tell the whole story. Benjamin and I, we've known each other for years. He's a client at my firm. We became friends. That's it. I pulled out my phone, opened the file Charles had sent me, and started reading aloud. Friday, 10:47 p.m. Text from you to Benjamin. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. I need this. Saturday, 2:13 p.m. This feels so right. I should have done this months ago. Sunday morning, I don't want to go back. Her face flushed. How did you? The investigator recovered everything. Your deleted messages, his responses, all of it. You want to keep pretending this was innocent. She stood up, pacing now. Okay, fine. Yes, we got close. But it's because you and I have been disconnected for over a year. You work all the time. You never ask how I'm doing. You don't care about my life. So your solution was to spend 5 days at a resort with another man instead of, I don't know, having a conversation with your husband? I tried talking to you. You never listen. I laughed. Couldn't help it. When exactly did you try? Because I remember plenty of dinners where you sat on your phone the entire time. I remember asking you how work was going and getting one-word answers. You checked out of this marriage long before I did. Helen. She sat back down, softer now. The anger wasn't working, so she switched back to vulnerability. Classic. I made a mistake, she said quietly. A terrible mistake. But people make mistakes. That doesn't mean we throw away everything we built. You didn't make a mistake. You made a choice. Actually, dozens of choices. You chose to lie. You chose to book that hotel room. You chose to ignore my calls. You chose to come back here and act like you had the authority to tell me not to ask questions. She wiped her eyes. Actual tears this time, maybe. Hard to tell. I was confused. I felt trapped. Benjamin made me feel seen, appreciated. Things I didn't feel here anymore. And whose fault is that? You think I didn't notice you pulling away? I tried. For months, I tried. You shut me down every time. So don't sit there and blame me for the choices you made. She looked down at the papers. What if I don't sign? Then my attorney files contested. It takes longer, costs more, and gets messy. But the outcome is the same. We're done, Helen. You can make this easy or difficult, but either way, it's happening. What about the house? My things. Take your things. I already told you, I'm keeping the lease. You need to find your own place. I can't afford that right now. I shrugged. Should have thought about that before you spent 5 days at a resort. Her jaw tightened. There it was. The anger coming back. You're being cruel. No, I'm being fair. Cruel would be sending those photos to your entire office. To your parents. To everyone who thinks you're some kind of victim in all this. Her eyes widened. You wouldn't. Try me. Sign the papers. Move out quietly. And we can both move on. Keep pushing and I'll make sure everyone knows exactly what happened." She stared at me for a long moment, then picked up the pen and signed the first page, then the second, then the third. Her hand was shaking by the end, but she got through all of them. "There," she said, shoving the papers toward me. "Happy now?" "Not happy, just done." She stood up, grabbed her purse, and headed for the door. "Where are you going?" "To stay with Emery. She said I could crash there for a while." "Good. When are you getting the rest of your stuff?" "Tomorrow. I'll come by when you're at work." "Fine. Leave the key on the counter when you're done." She paused at the door, turned back. "You know, I actually thought you'd fight for us." I met her eyes. "There's nothing left to fight for. You destroyed it." She flinched, then walked out. The door clicked shut behind her. I picked up the signed divorce papers, took a photo of each page, and emailed them to my attorney. He responded within 10 minutes. "Got them. I'll file tomorrow morning." This should move quickly since there's no property dispute, and she signed willingly. "You did good." I texted back. "Thanks." My phone rang almost immediately after. Unknown number. I answered. "Is this Helen's husband?" Male voice. Confident, a little aggressive. "Who's asking?" "Benjamin Cole. I think we need to talk." "Of course. The guy from the resort." I almost hung up, but curiosity got the better of me. "What do you want?" "Helen told me what you're doing to her. Kicking her out, threatening her, using some investigator to stalk her. That's not okay, man." I laughed. Actually laughed. "Let me guess. She called you crying, said I was the bad guy, and you believed her." "She's devastated. You're punishing her for one mistake." "Did she tell you she's married? Or did she leave that part out when you two were planning your little getaway?" Silence on the other end. "Yeah, thought so," I continued. "Here's what's actually happening, Benjamin. My wife lied about where she was going, spent 5 days with you at a resort, ignored every attempt I made to contact her, then came home and told me it was none of my business. I didn't threaten her. I gave her a choice, sign the divorce papers and leave quietly, or I make the whole thing public. She chose option 1. She said you had her followed. I hired a professional investigator after she vanished, and I found out she lied about her location. That's not stalking. That's protecting myself. Look, man, I didn't know she was going to leave you. She told me the marriage was already over. Convenient story. But here's the thing, Benjamin. I don't actually care about you. You want her? She's all yours. Good luck with that. But stop calling my phone." I hung up. 5 minutes later, Helen texted me. "Benjamin told me you were rude to him." I replied, "Your boyfriend is not my problem. Stop contacting me unless it's about the divorce." She didn't respond. I sat there for a minute, processing everything. The signed papers, the confrontation, Benjamin calling me like he had any right to weigh in on my marriage. The absurdity of it all almost made me laugh again. But mostly, I just felt tired. Not sad, not angry, just tired. Tomorrow, I'd go to work, focus on the projects I'd been neglecting, and start figuring out what my life looked like without her in it. Tonight, I ordered takeout, turned on a game, and didn't think about her once. Wednesday afternoon, my phone started blowing up. First, a call from Helen's mother, Diana. Then her sister, Alexandra. Then 3 mutual friends within an hour. I let them all go to voicemail. I knew what was happening. Helen was trying to control the narrative, painting herself as the victim. I'd expected this. What she didn't expect was that I'd already sent copies of the investigator's report to her parents and her sister Tuesday night, right after she left. Not out of spite, out of strategy. I wasn't going to let her rewrite history. Diana called again. This time, I answered. "We need to talk about Helen," she said. Her voice was tight, controlled. "Okay." She called me this morning, said you kicked her out of the house with nowhere to go. Said you're being vindictive and cruel. "Did you read the report I sent you?" Pause. "Yes, we read it." "Then you know why I asked her to leave." Another pause. Longer this time. "What she did was wrong. I'm not defending that. But she's still my daughter, and this is destroying her. She destroyed the marriage, Diana. I'm just responding to it. By throwing her out. By threatening to humiliate her publicly. I gave her options. She chose to sign the papers and leave. Nobody forced her, and I didn't threaten to humiliate her. I told her that if she fought the divorce or tried to make this difficult, people would find out the truth. That's not a threat. That's a consequence." I heard Diana sigh. "Her father wants to talk to you." "Put him on." Shuffling sounds. Then Helen's father, Peter. Former Marine, straightforward guy. We'd always gotten along. "You handled this the right way," he said flatly. "I wasn't expecting that. She lied, she cheated, and she tried to manipulate you afterward. Diana and I read everything in that report. We're not happy about it, but we understand why you're doing what you're doing. I appreciate that, Peter. That said, she's going to need help getting back on her feet. We'll handle that. But I wanted you to know that we don't blame you for the divorce. Thank you. Take care of yourself. He hung up. 10 minutes later, Alexandra called. Helen's younger sister. This conversation was going to be different. You're a piece of work. You know that? She said the second I answered. Good to hear from you too, Alexandra. Helen is a mess. She can barely function right now, and you're just moving on like nothing happened. She cheated on me for 5 days, lied about it, and then tried to gaslight me when she got caught. What exactly am I supposed to do? Pretend it didn't happen. She made a mistake. Stop calling it a mistake. It was a decision. Multiple decisions. And now she's dealing with the consequences. You sent those photos to our parents. Do you know how humiliating that was for her? She humiliated herself. I just made sure everyone knew the truth before she could spin it into something it wasn't. Alexandra was quiet for a moment. Then, quieter, she's my sister. I have to support her. I get that. But don't call me and act like I'm the villain here. I didn't do anything wrong. She hung up without another word. By Thursday, the fallout had spread further. One of our mutual friends, Taylor, texted me asking if we could meet for drinks. Taylor worked with Helen at the same consulting firm. I agreed. We met at a bar near my place Thursday evening. Taylor ordered a beer. I got a soda. I had work early the next morning. So, Taylor said, sliding into the booth across from me. Everyone at the office knows. Knows what? About Helen and Benjamin. It's all anyone's been talking about for 2 days. I hadn't expected it to spread that fast. How'd they find out? Benjamin's wife showed up at the office yesterday. I set my drink down. Wait, he's married. Taylor nodded. Yeah, apparently, she got suspicious, went through his credit card statements, and found the hotel charges. Put 2 and 2 together. Showed up at the firm demanding to talk to Helen in front of everyone. And Helen was there? Yep. It got loud. Security had to escort Benjamin's wife out. Helen left right after. Hasn't been back since. I leaned back, processing that. Benjamin was married. Helen hadn't just wrecked our marriage. She'd wrecked his too. Did Helen know he was married? I asked. Taylor shrugged. No idea. But it doesn't look good either way. The firm's not happy. Benjamin's a major client. This whole thing is a liability now. Is she going to lose her job? Probably. HR's been in meetings all day. From what I heard, they're trying to figure out how to handle it without getting sued. I didn't feel satisfaction hearing that. I didn't feel anything, honestly. Just a strange sense of detachment. How are you doing? Taylor asked. I'm fine. Divorce is moving forward. She moved out. I'm just focused on work and moving on. That's it. No anger, no? I don't know. Wanting to get back at her. What's the point? She already got back at herself. Taylor smiled slightly. Fair enough. We talked for another 20 minutes about work, random things, nothing heavy. When we left, Taylor hugged me. You're handling this better than most people would, Taylor said. I'm impressed. Thanks. Friday evening, I got a text from an unknown number. Not Benjamin this time. This is Emery, Helen's friend. She's staying with me. I think you should know she's not doing well. She hasn't eaten in 2 days. She just cries. I know what she did was wrong, but she's falling apart. I stared at the text for a long time. Part of me felt bad. A small part. The rest of me remembered how she'd looked at me when she said, my life, my rules, don't ask anything. The arrogance. The entitlement. I texted back. I'm sorry she's struggling, but this isn't my responsibility anymore. She made her choices. She needs to deal with the consequences. Emery replied. That's cold. I didn't respond. Saturday morning, I went to the gym, picked up groceries, and cleaned the house. It felt strange being there alone, but not in a bad way. Just different. My attorney called around noon. Good news. The divorce is on track. Since she signed and there's no contested property, we're looking at finalization in about 4 to 6 months. You'll get a court date soon. That fast. When both parties agree and there's no complications, yeah, it moves quickly. Thanks for the update. One more thing. Her attorney reached out. She wants to negotiate splitting some of the furniture and a few other items. Thoughts? Tell her she can have whatever she wants as long as she coordinates a time to pick it up when I'm not here. I don't want to see her. Got it. I'll handle it. After the call, I sat on the couch and looked around the living room. Pictures of us were still on the walls. I need to take those down eventually, but not today. Today, I just wanted peace. And for the first time in a week, I actually felt it. 2 weeks passed. I settled into a routine. Work, gym, home. Simple. Predictable. Exactly what I needed. Helen had picked up her furniture the previous Saturday while I was out. I came home to find half the living room empty and a note on the kitchen counter. Took what was mine. Left your stuff. Don't contact me unless the lawyers need something. Fine by me. Monday morning, I was in a project meeting when my phone vibrated. Text from Taylor. Helen got fired. Thought you should know. I waited until the meeting ended to respond. What happened? Taylor called instead of texting back. HR made the decision Friday afternoon. They cited a conflict of interest and violation of company policy. Apparently, getting involved with a client, especially a married one, broke multiple clauses in her contract. That's rough. It gets worse. Benjamin's company pulled their contract with the firm. Cost them over $200,000 in annual revenue. Management wasn't happy. They made an example out of her. I didn't know what to say to that. Yes, Helen had made terrible choices, but losing her job felt like a heavy consequence. How'd you find out? I asked. She emailed the entire team this morning. Long message about how she was being unfairly targeted, how the company was throwing her under the bus, all that. Nobody responded. Nobody. Not one person. Look, I feel bad for her on some level, but she brought this on herself. Everyone knows what happened. Some people are sympathetic, but most just want to distance themselves from the situation. After we hung up, I sat at my desk staring at nothing in particular. Part of me wondered if I should reach out, see if she was okay. Then I remembered the investigator's report, the texts, the lies, the way she'd looked at me when she said, "My life, my rules." No, she wasn't my problem anymore. That evening, I got home to find Helen sitting on the front steps of the house. Our house. My house now, technically, but old habits. I parked in the driveway and got out slowly. She stood up, looking thinner than I remembered. Tired. "What are you doing here?" I asked, keeping my distance. "I needed to talk to you. We don't have anything to talk about. The lawyers can handle whatever needs handling. I lost my job." Her voice cracked. I heard. "That's it. You heard." I unlocked the front door. "I'm sorry you lost your job, Helen, but that's not my fault, and it's not my problem. Everything is falling apart. My career, my reputation, my life. And you just don't care." I turned to face her. "You're right. I don't. Not because I'm cruel, but because you made the decisions that led to this. You chose to have an affair with a married client. You chose to lie to me. You chose to risk everything for 5 days at a resort. Those were your choices. These are your consequences. I needed you to forgive me, to help me through this. Why would I do that? You didn't just cheat. You disrespected me in ways I didn't think were possible. You don't get to come back now that things are hard and expect me to fix it." She wiped her eyes. "I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. But I'm drowning here, and you're the only person who..." "Stop. I'm not your lifeline. I'm not your safety net. You burned that bridge. So that's it. You just walk away and leave me to deal with this alone." "Yes, that's exactly what I do. Because you're not my responsibility anymore." She stared at me like I'd slapped her. Then she turned and walked to her car without another word. I went inside, locked the door, and didn't look back. The next day, she started texting me. Long messages about how sorry she was, how she'd made the biggest mistake of her life, how she needed closure, needed to talk things through properly. I didn't respond to any of them. By the end of the week, she'd sent 17 messages. Some apologetic, some angry, some desperate. I blocked her number. Friday evening, my attorney called. Helen's lawyer wants to delay the divorce proceedings. Says she's going through a difficult time and needs more space to process everything. Denied. We're moving forward as planned. That's what I told them. Just wanted to keep you in the loop. Appreciate it. One more thing. She's asking if you'd be willing to meet with her. Face to face. Says she wants to apologize properly. No. Figured. I'll let them know. After the call, I poured myself a drink and sat on the back porch. The sun was setting, the air cooling down. Peaceful. My phone buzzed. Email this time. From Helen. Subject line, "Please read this." I almost deleted it without opening, but curiosity got me. The email was 3 paragraphs. Apologizing again, explaining that she'd lost everything and didn't know how to move forward. Asking if we could at least talk, even if it didn't change anything. At the end, "I understand if you hate me. I just need to know if there's any part of you that still cares, even a little." I closed the email without responding. Did I care? On some level, maybe. 8 years doesn't just disappear. But caring and doing something about it are two different things. She'd made her choices. I'd made mine. And mine meant moving forward without her. Saturday, I went to a work buddy's barbecue. First social thing I'd done since the separation. People asked how I was doing. I kept it vague, getting through it, taking it day by day. Nobody pushed for details. They didn't need to. Everyone there knew enough. Lincoln, one of the guys from my department, pulled me aside near the end of the night. "You seem good, man. Honestly, better than I expected. Just focusing on what I can control. That's the right approach. My brother went through a divorce a few years back. Tore him apart. But you're handling it like a professional." I shrugged. Not much else to do. Can't change what happened. Can only decide how I respond to it. He nodded. Smart. On the drive home, I thought about that. How I was handling it. Honestly, I was proud of myself. I didn't fall apart. Didn't beg. Didn't compromise my dignity. I could have made this ugly. I could have blasted those photos all over social media. Could have sent them to everyone she knew. But I didn't. Because that's not who I am. I gave her consequences. Fair ones. And I moved on. When I got home, there were no texts, no emails, no calls. Just silence. And that felt exactly right. 3 months into the divorce process, things were moving smoothly. My attorney said we'd have a court date within weeks. Helen had stopped trying to contact me after I blocked her number. Life was calm. Then one night, around 11, someone knocked on my door. Hard, persistent knocking. I looked through the peephole. Helen. I almost didn't open it. But I wanted this to end cleanly, so I unlocked the door and stood in the doorway. Didn't invite her in. She looked worse than the last time I'd seen her. Dark circles under her eyes, hair pulled back messily, wearing sweatpants and an old jacket. What do you want? I need to say something. Please. Just 5 minutes. I crossed my arms. You've got 3. She took a shaky breath. I know I ruined everything. I know you'll never forgive me. But I need you to understand that what I did, it was the biggest mistake of my life. I lost everything. My job, my friends, my family barely talks to me. And I lost you. You didn't lose me. You threw me away. I know that now. But when I was with Benjamin, I wasn't thinking clearly. I convinced myself I was unhappy, that I needed something different. But I was wrong. I should have talked to you. I should have fought for us instead of running. And now you want me to what? Take you back? Pretend none of this happened. No, I know that's not possible. I just need you to know that I'm sorry. Truly sorry. And that if I could go back and change everything, I would. I looked at her for a long moment. She was waiting for something. Forgiveness, maybe. Or reassurance that she wasn't a terrible person. I wasn't going to give her either. I believe you're sorry, I said. But being sorry doesn't fix what you broke. You made choices that ended our marriage. You don't get to come back now and expect closure or forgiveness just because things didn't work out the way you planned. I just wanted you to know. I know. And now I've heard it. But it doesn't change anything. We're still getting divorced. You're still dealing with the consequences of what you did. And I'm still moving forward without you. Her face crumpled. So that's it. That's it. She stood there for another moment, then nodded slowly. Okay, I won't bother you again. Good. She turned and walked back to her car. I watched her drive away, then closed the door and locked it. No anger, no sadness, just finality. The next morning, my attorney called. We have a court date. For weeks from today. After that, it's official. Perfect. For weeks later, I sat in a courtroom for 20 minutes while a judge reviewed our case. No drama, no arguments, just paperwork and signatures. When it was done, I walked out of that courthouse a free man. Helen was already gone. Didn't even see her leave. And that was exactly how I wanted it. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, I got a promotion at work. More responsibility, better pay, a team to manage. I'd been putting in the hours, proving myself, and it paid off. I moved into a better apartment across town. 1 bedroom, but it was mine. No shared memories, no ghosts from the past. Just a fresh start. One afternoon, I ran into Helen at the courthouse. I was there filing paperwork for a name change on some old accounts. She was there for something else, didn't ask what. We made eye contact across the lobby. She looked better than the last time I'd seen her. Healthier, maybe. Put together. She walked over. Hey, I heard about your promotion. Congratulations. Thanks. Awkward silence. She shifted her weight. I'm doing better. Got a new job. Nothing like before, but it's stable. I'm seeing a therapist, working through things. That's good. I'm glad you're doing better. She nodded. I just wanted you to know that I don't blame you for how everything ended. You handled it the way you needed to. I respect that. I appreciate you saying that. Another pause. Then she smiled, sad but genuine. Take care of yourself. You too. She walked away. I watched her leave, then turned and headed to my car. No lingering feelings. No what-ifs. Just two people who used to be married and now weren't. I drove home, stopped for takeout, and spent the evening watching a game on my new couch in my new place. Life was good. Not perfect, but genuine. And entirely mine. That was enough.